North Korean soldiers in Russia were pulled from the front lines in the partially occupied Kursk region after facing heavy losses, the New York Times reported, citing anonymous Ukrainian and U.S. officials. The report comes a week after some Western officials estimated that around 4,000 of the 11,000 North Korean soldiers believed to have been sent to Russia late last year may have been killed, wounded, captured, or gone missing. U.S. officials believe the North Korean soldiers could now be undergoing additional training or that Russia may be exploring ways to deploy them to avoid heavy casualties, NYT reported, despite being Pyongyang's best-trained special operations troops. The North Koreans have reportedly been used as foot soldiers, leaving them vulnerable to Ukrainian fire and landmines in the Kursk region. Neither Moscow nor Pyongyang has officially acknowledged the presence of North Korean forces, which were believed to be assisting Russia in pushing Ukrainian troops out of the Kursk region. Since Ukraine's surprise cross-border incursion in August, Russia has managed to reclaim about half of the territory initially lost to Kiev. Russia expects North Korea to send additional reinforcements within the next 2 months, NYT reported last week, quoting a senior U.S. defense official. U.S. intelligence agencies claim North Korean leader Kim Jong-un proposed deploying troops to support Russia in Kursk, an idea that Russian President Vladimir Putin reportedly quickly embraced, according to the newspaper. North Korea has also reportedly been supplying Russia with rockets, missiles, and millions of artillery shells, which are believed to account for half of the munitions Russia fires daily. Kim likely hopes that in return, Putin will assist North Korea's missile programs and provide diplomatic backing at the UN, U.S. officials said. Ukrainian commander with the call sign PULS, who leads the 1st Combat Divers Battalion of Ukraine's Special Operations Forces, told Sky News that North Korean troops began pulling back from the front lines about 2 weeks ago. However, he said he believes the withdrawal is only temporary. They're still present, training or waiting for reinforcements. Something is happening. They'll be back soon, he said, citing intercepted Russian communications. Andrei Kovalenko, head of the Center for Countering Disinformation under Ukraine's National Security and Defense Council, confirmed that DPRK troops have struggled against Ukrainian drones and artillery, suffering heavy losses. He said that North Korean soldiers are now working with Russian commanders and their own officers to address their shortcomings. Kovalenko also pointed out a growing concern for Pyongyang. A big problem for Kim is that North Koreans were captured, and in addition, there is clear evidence documenting the bodies of dead Koreans. According to him, Russia was initially supposed to keep DPRK troop involvement secret, but has failed to do so. The roads and military bases where supplies are transported to the Russian army are being successfully hit by Ukrainian drones and missiles. This results in the Russian army being left without supplies on the front. The scale of the problem is growing for the Russians. Kyiv can paralyze the enemy's logistics. Recently, a Ukrainian naval drone carried out a historic operation to destroy a helicopter of the aggressor country, Russia, by firing a missile at it. A few days later, Ukraine attacked 2 more enemy helicopters with the same Magura V5 drone, also hitting the 3rd one. As reported by Sera, back in May 2024, information appeared on the internet about the armament of Ukrainian naval drones with Soviet anti-aircraft missiles. Since then, Kyiv has begun to use them quite often to strike Russian targets. On January the 5th, naval drones from the Black Sea attacked the Pantsir Russian air defense system in the occupied territory of the Kherson region. The drones were delivered deep behind enemy lines using a naval drone. Therefore, from this moment, it became clear that the occupier's aviation, which hunts Ukrainian drones, cannot be completely safe. Thus, Russia is forced to increase spending on defense in the form of air defense and electronic warfare systems, including for the Crimean Bridge. Experts say that if Kyiv continues to attack enemy targets with sea drones, the logistics of the occupation forces in the temporarily occupied Crimea may be completely paralyzed. UK Defense Intelligence reports that Ukrainian uncrewed aerial systems have disabled 25% of storage capacity at the Krystal oil depot near Engels 2 airbase in Saratov Oblast, Russia, through 2 precision strikes in January 2025. The coordinated attacks on one of Russia's key fuel facilities demonstrate Ukraine's expanding capability to degrade strategic infrastructure deep within Russian territory, with satellite imagery confirming impacts On 14 of the facility's approximately 40 storage tanks. The initial strike on the 8th of January 2025 triggered large-scale fires within the petroleum, oil and lubricant storage areas, which reportedly took several days to extinguish. It reportedly destroyed 800,000 tons of jet fuel, equivalent to 90 sorties by 21 strategic bombers. A follow-up attack on the 14th of January reignited the facility and caused additional infrastructure damage. Analysis of satellite imagery from the 21st of January 2025, released by the UK Ministry of Defence, reveals 4 POL tanks were completely destroyed and 10 others sustained significant damage, affecting a quarter of the depot's total storage capacity. Assuming that the Crystal depot has large fuel tanks storing 80,000 tons of jet fuel each, and that 100% of this capacity was lost in the 4 destroyed tanks and 50% in the damaged tanks, this would put the total amount of destroyed fuel at 720,000 tons, which supports the Ukrainian earlier estimate. The Crystal oil depot's strategic location, just 8 kilometers from Engels 2 airbase, makes it a crucial component of Russia's military logistics infrastructure in the region. The substantial degradation of its storage capacity could impact fuel supply operations for both civilian and military purposes. The successful execution of these strikes, coupled with the significant proportion of storage capacity affected, highlights Ukraine's growing precision in targeting key Russian infrastructure, according to UK Defence Intelligence assessment. The Russian state oil company Rosneft, run by Igor Sechin, a close friend of Russian dictator Vladimir Putin, employs a staff of escorts who are officially registered as secretaries, advisors and chief specialists. The company has spent hundreds of millions of rubles on the salaries of these employees. This is stated in a new investigation by the Anti-Corruption Foundation. Investigators found the escorts by reviewing the company's staffing schedule and then matching the girls' names to data on escort service websites. The girls started working at Rosneft at the age of 19 to 21, and their average salary was 200 to 300,000 rubles per month. The investigation pays special attention to Albina Ivanova, who traveled with Sechin for 9 years and received a salary of 33 million rubles during this time. The girl wrote about her travels on Instagram, thanks to which it was possible to find out that her routes coincided with the routes of the head of Rosneft. During this period, they made 58 joint trips. In addition to photos from her travels, Ivanova also showed off her jewelry collections and her expensive items on social media. In addition to her position in Rosneft, Ivanova is also employed in the independent oil and gas company of the former head of Rosneft, Eduard Kudainatov. Meanwhile, Sechin's salary amounted to 4.6 billion rubles for 2024. Earlier, media wrote that the Kremlin is developing a plan for Rosneft to absorb 2 other Russian energy giants, Gazprom and Lukoil. According to the Wall Street Journal, talks on this topic have been ongoing for several months. A plan is being developed in Russia to merge oil giants into one mega giant. The resulting company will become the world's second largest crude oil producer after Saudi Arabia's Aramco. It will pump almost 3 times more oil than ExxonMobil, the article says. The result of this merger, experts believe, will be the strengthening of the influence of Vladimir Putin's dictatorial regime on global energy markets. One of the scenarios being discussed in the Kremlin involves Rosneft taking over 2 energy companies, Gazprom and Lukoil. All 3 are under Western sanctions. Discussions on this topic have been ongoing in the highest echelons of Russian power for several months. There is no final decision yet, sources say. Rosneft denies the information, while the other 2 companies remain silent on the matter.